press hockey coverage with Jim Biringer.
Hello, everyone. This is Jim Biringer here, Full Press NHL. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below. We're back quick. Full Press NHL Rumors podcast as we are into the lull of the offseason. I was on TSN 690 in Montreal twice in the month of July, once beginning at the month and once last week as well. Check those items out below. As well, check out the latest rumors that are up on fullpresshockey.com along with the latest NHL insights. We're going to dive into it. As we stated there, it's the lull of the offseason. There's been a lot of talk and chatter of potential trades. Well, we haven't seen them happen yet, and I'm a big believer. I'll believe it when I see it type thing. Yes, everybody's talking about all these trades, all these potential trades that could happen. However, they weren't going to happen because the rising salary cap. Teams want to hold on to their players. Teams aren't unsure of moving out first-round draft picks because of Gavin McKenna next year, especially those fringe bubble teams. So we haven't seen that activity yet, just because we always know in the month of July there's a little bit of a lull after free agency, after the final guys are done before the American holiday. And that's where having free agency begin August 1st, or after the American holidays, maybe we don't get this lull in the action. Yeah, there's been some signings, some arbitration hearings that have been avoided because of these signings. But the big thing is we haven't had the trade activity, no offer sheets, none of the big things, the big ticket items everybody thought was going to happen once free agency was over. And we're still in the midst of free agency, but free agency frenzy, which was July 1st. We haven't seen it. We didn't even see any of the big trades at the NHL draft. Obviously, we saw Noah Dobson get traded. David Calabretto and myself talked about it. Mitch Marner got a sign and trade. Keandre Miller sign and trade. But again, there wasn't the big free agent names that were traded. There weren't those big trades that everybody expected. Maybe we'll get some things in August. We saw it last year with the offer sheets, with the Line trade, with the Askarov trade. We'll see what happens next year. But let's dive into some of these rumors. And I think we need to start in New Jersey. Talked about it at Jim Biringer on Twitter. Dougie Hamilton rumors. They've been out there for a while. They've been out there since the beginning of July. A lot of people think the best course of action for the Devils to shed salary is to trade Dougie Hamilton. I'm telling you right now, it's a bad decision. You're not trading a 50 to 60 point defenseman. It doesn't make sense. Yes, there are talks, but speaking with people that I know, some sources inside the game, around the game, there's no trade talks. Nothing is happening. Nobody's aware of anything. Teams are calling and saying, hey, is Dougie available? This is what we're going to give you for him. Team declines. That's how these things work. Then they're going to try a few weeks later to see the same thing. This is the same saga that went on with Brady Tkachuk with the Ottawa Senators. Brady Tkachuk isn't going anywhere. Dougie Hamilton isn't going anywhere. The Devils aren't trading him. Why would they make their team worse when they need to make the playoffs? That's the edict from ownership to Tom Fitzgerald. Get us back to the playoffs and win around. Those are the expectations. Not having Dougie Hamilton does not accomplish that. That means you're asking Simone Nemec, who potentially could be traded as well, Seamus Casey to do more than expected. Remember, Jonathan Kovacevic isn't there to begin the year. So why would you get rid of a top pairing defenseman and make your defense worse with an aging goaltending? It doesn't make sense. Yes, he makes $9 million, but you want those veterans back there. We saw the year that they missed the playoffs following the 2023 season where they made the playoffs. No David Severson, no Ryan Graves. Yes, those guys weren't going to take short-term deals. They got overpaid. A lot of them did. But if you look at it, those guys were essential to the Devils making the playoffs during the 22-23 season. Not there. They take a step back. The goaltending should have been addressed in the offseason that year. Tom Fitzgerald did some things that were very questionable. A lot of people question some things. Again, you roll back a Kirill Schmid, Vitek Vanacek, guys that you believed in the playoffs. Again, it was the playoffs, but they were exposed by Carolina. Then that young D exposes it a little more. You course correct last year. You don't really want to course correct again in this offseason. And the big thing, the big sticking point is the Luke Hughes extension. The number I'm hearing, $7.5 million over a 6-7 year deal. Could be 8-year deal as well. We know the Brock Faber contract in Minnesota is kind of a benchmark. We also know the Bowen Byram extension in Buffalo is kind of the other benchmark. So if you're looking at it, you're saying a lot of it hinges on what Luke Hughes' extension is before New Jersey can do anything. Well, there's a couple options at play. Yeah, you can try to trade Dawson Mercer or Andre Palat before you get this extension done. You sign the extension, you kick the can down later, because we all know the Devils have been linked to Quinn Hughes. But the problem is, if you're trying to trade out a right shot defenseman, you need to get a right shot defenseman back in return. And the issue is Quinn Hughes plays the left side. They don't have another right shot defenseman that's ready to come up. You'd have to ask somebody to play the right side. Now you're all out of whack. Luke Hughes will get his extension. It'll get done. The Devils will have him in training camp when he begins. These things take time. Though the last couple of years, Tom Fitzgerald has really lost these negotiations, especially with Dawson Mercer, 3x4 deal when it should have been a lot lower. Again, Mercer, Palat are trade candidates. That's where they want to go. There's a potential they could lose Nico Daws on waivers. But if you look at it, you need Hughes and you need Hamilton. Yeah, guys have taken power play time away from each other. But with the way you got a left shot, right shot guy on a power play, both guys can let the bomb go from the point. I think New Jersey's in a good situation if they keep everybody. Again, they're not trading Hamilton. While the Dadonov and the Connor Brown signings were good, they're not going to move the needle. They've really been tied up with this cap space. Again, you could sign Luke Hughes to, say, $7.5 million now. Could put Jonathan Kovacevic on LTIR, and everything moves on. And you worry about the plan later. And I think that's part of the decision-making, the tough decisions. All the players the Devils let go were not tough decisions. Now it's the tough decisions begin. Who do you believe in as a part of this core moving forward? If it was up to Tom Fitzgerald, Casey and Nemec would still be developing in the AHL. And maybe Nemec does go on a trade somewhere, because eventually, as somebody told me, you can't be afraid to trade prospects. Can't be afraid to trade potential core players to get better. And that's what Tom Fitzgerald is doing right now. He's afraid to make the big move and the big splash. So it's going to be interesting to see what New Jersey does. But right now, Dougie Hamilton isn't going there. Don't fret. Luke Hughes will sign. It's not going to be a short-term deal where he's eligible to be offer sheeted down the road. It'll be into that 5 to 8 year range. Devils get it done, get him locked in, $7.5 million, maybe a little bit more than that, but he's not getting in the eights. If he does, then it's an overpayment for a guy that does turn the puck over a lot. Poor decisions. He has to get better with that. Dougie Hamilton does the same thing, and they want to get rid of him. So, again, a couple things to keep an eye on with New Jersey. Let's stay here in this little bit of an area. We'll move to Buffalo. We talked about Bowen Byram, 2-year deal. He gets $6.25 million on that 2-year deal, but no trade protection. He's eligible to move, could be traded. That saga is long from over. Check it out. Posted it up on a short. That saga is long from being over. Buffalo's got a lot of issues that they got to deal with right now. Not only is Bo Byram, Matthias Samuelsson, these guys continue to be up there in trade rumors. Something has to change in Buffalo. Is it the ownership? Is it Kevin Adams? Something has to change in Buffalo. Again, what I'm hearing is again, you're putting in the wrong guys in charge. They can't be afraid to move players. We've seen so many players from Buffalo have success elsewhere that it's hesitating for Kevin Adams to move guys like a Bowen Byram. He moves out JT Peterka. The return wasn't great. Josh Doan, Michael Kesselring, that's all well and good, but you could have gotten more for JJ Peterka. Maybe the market wasn't there for Bowen Byram, but that doesn't mean the market won't be there during the year. I do believe that he's going to get moved eventually. I don't think he's a part of the future in Buffalo. There's a couple other guys in there. They got to sign contract extensions for Tate Thompson, Alex Tucker, guys that are looking for contract extensions. Is the best course of action for the Buffalo Sabres and ownership to sell off, bring in a new owner, know what he's doing. Similar to what we see in the wrestling, that especially what we saw in WCW. Watts comes in, he doesn't know what he's doing. Get a wrestling guy back in there. Maybe you need a hockey guy back in there. Pagulas are doing great with Buffalo Bills. They've gotten a lot wrong in Buffalo with the Sabres. You should be back in the playoffs. 15 years is going to be too long. Guys like Power and Darlene, players like that, they got to get it right on the back end. Got to get it right between the pipes. There's too much talent there not to make the playoffs, but Byram's another guy that's going to potentially be on the move. Again, he was linked to the St. Louis Blues. Jordan Kyrou was a name that was out there prior to July 1st. Didn't have trade protection. People were saying, St. Louis is going to look to move him. Teams like Montreal, Buffalo, a whole bunch of teams, New Jersey, looking to get him. But once July 1st came in, full no trade clicked in. Now he's got to say where he can go. I love all these reports out there saying, oh, they were looking to move him. They wanted to move him. St. Louis wasn't looking to move him because if they were, he would have been gone before July 1st. 2, the asking price was through the roof like it was for Braden Shen, as we saw at the NHL trade deadline this past year for Joel Holford and Bennington, Shen, guys like that. The prices were so high, and the prices are still high for those types of players because the market for centers is so thin. There's not too many good centers out there. It's like right shot defensemen. Everybody needs one. Half the league is looking for one. And if a team like St. Louis is going to give up a player like Kyrou, then they're going to have to get something of equal or more value in return, and it's just not there. That's why Elias Pettersson didn't move in Vancouver. They held on to him because they realized the market isn't there. Then that means they would have to go out and get 3 offensive pieces. Again, what are the Vancouver Canucks doing? You keep everybody, and that's a topic for another day. We also put that one up as well on Full Press Hockey on the YouTube page on the short section. But again, similar with Calgary Flames and Nazem Kadri. You have a number 1 center. You have a top-line center. You're looking for another center. Why give up a player that you've already filling a need with, and then now you have to find 2 more guys when you got to get rid of one guy? That doesn't make sense, and that's why Vancouver's keeping their guy. Calgary's going to keep Kadri. Kyrou staying in St. Louis. And again, these prices were astronomical at the trade deadline. Ryan O'Reilly was a name out there New Jersey was trying to get at the trade deadline. Nashville continued to look at Dawson Mercer, at a Seamus Casey, at Nemec, and a first-round pick, similar to what they would look for in UC Saros. So the price for centers is high. Kyrou wasn't going anywhere, and there's a reason he stayed. And you have to, and St. Louis is right to do so. There's no other reason to get rid of him outside of, oh, we need to move him. This team needs to make the playoffs, need to get back there. Jordan Kyrou is going to be a big, big part of it. Now, you go over to Anaheim. Mason McTavish is a player that's out there. Hasn't signed a contract yet. Is he a Pat Verbeek guy? We know Trevor Zegras wasn't a Pat Verbeek guy. He gets moved to Philadelphia. Again, what are the Ducks doing? And you have Mason McTavish. He needs a new deal. He hasn't signed yet. They have a ton of cap space, $21 million worth. No one's offer sheeted him yet. No one wants to do Pat Verbeek's job for him, or they don't want to give him first-round draft picks for him. But you look at it, and you're like, okay, what's the deal? Why isn't he signed? What are we looking at? Are they trying to go bridge deal here? They want to get him long-term. Leo Carlson's there. Joe Quenneville's there. Now Owen Zellweger's a name that's out there. Guys want out of Anaheim all of a sudden. Mason McTavish is a player teams would be jumping to get. But again, it's going to cost them because Pat Verbeek's going to give up a guy like Mason McTavish who he feels is the future of this team. Again, then you got to pay your players. You can't be a hardliner like Steve Yzerman in Detroit. Then you have to say, okay, we got to pay him what he's worth. Maybe get him on a 4 or 5 year deal, and then let's talk about it again next time. Mason McTavish can put up goals, can put up points. Solid center in this league. Good NHL player. Teams want him. Anaheim has to get the deal done. They haven't done it yet. They continue to work at it. But the question in my mind is he a Pat Verbeek guy? Because if he was really a Pat Verbeek guy, maybe this thing gets done. And similar to Luke Hughes in New Jersey, who we heard from Tom Fitzgerald, who said he wants to be there. Luke wants to be a Devil long-term. Why isn't the deal done yet? These things take time. Haggling on money, trade clauses, all that stuff. But we know Jack and Hughes and Nico Hischier got their deals done relatively soon. Final year of entry-level deal. Very surprised that these 2 deals are still out there. Marco Rossi out in Minnesota is also available. He could be a good second-line center for somebody. He's not a Bill Guerin guy. He's been stuck on a 4th line, a 3rd line. When he's been on playing the top 6, he's produced. Again, we don't understand why Bill Guerin hasn't seen it. When Kaprizov was out, when Boldy was out, he produced for the Minnesota Wild, kept them afloat, and again, kept them in the playoff race. But he got demoted. Why is that? And they don't want to pay him more than Boldy or in that range. Well, he knows he's a better player than that. And if he takes a short-term bridge deal, his services might not make sense for Minnesota, not to mention his stock around the league could drop if he's not being used properly, and he might not be able to showcase his talents in a prove-it type deal. So Minnesota's got a player that teams are looking at in Marco Rossi. They've been looking at him for a while. Now, his name has definitely been out there making the trade rounds. Teams are looking to upgrade that center position. And you got Kirill Kaprizov entering the final year of his deal. He's looking for a big payday. As I mentioned on TSN 690, he's probably going to get over $15 million, more than Leon Draisaitl. And look, he deserves it. He's the best player in Minnesota Wild franchise history. He's going to get the bag. If it's an 8-year deal, great. If it's a 5-year deal, then it's great too. But he may take a 5-year deal again because he wants to see if Minnesota can win. They haven't gotten out of the first round in a long time. This team has underperformed when they believe they could have. Kaprizov's going to be a Hart Trophy candidate if he stays healthy. He was last year. Minnesota has the team to get to the second round, but he needs to see it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get this deal done, what the number is, how long it is. But Kaprizov will stay in Minnesota. But again, there's always could take that short-term option, go a couple years here, 2-3 years, then hit it big again when the cap goes up even further, because we know the cap's going to take a significant jump over the next couple of seasons, and he could get his big payday, similar to what we're going to see with Connor McDavid in Edmonton, though he's not going anywhere, but he'd probably take a 4-year deal, get his $17-18 million now, hit it big again next time, see if the Oilers put a winner together for him to stay long-term, which he will, but he could be a couple of short-term deals to stay there long-term to be with Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard. Oilers still working on a goalie situation, though they believe in the two guys that they have. They got to upgrade their D. Still looking for other talent in Edmonton. Again, it's just looking at the market, what the market's going to set. Could guys like Adrian Kempe and Kyle Connor, who are also pending unrestricted free agents next summer, get close to $10 million? Could they get $11-12 million? Noah Dobson, who just signed with the Montreal Canadiens at 9.5. Is that the starting point for Lane Hutson in Montreal, who's going to need a new deal? But the bigger the reason why Dobson signed at 9.5 is they didn't want to pay two defensemen $10 million. I do believe that Hutson will probably get around $10 million, maybe a little bit more than that. But the Dobson contract is the benchmark. The Canadiens have two solid defensemen. We know what Hutson can do, but there's patience with him. He doesn't have to sign it right away. It can happen anytime during this season, and it probably will. They'll get an extension done for Lane Hutson, and he'll be a Montreal Canadian for a very, very long time, and that's the deal that they want to get. One more defenseman out there, Pittsburgh, going through that rebuild. Obviously, Sidney Crosby's not going anywhere until he says he wants to go someplace, so let's just put that out of the way. Erik Karlsson's a name that continues to be out there again. Oh, Devils could trade for Karlsson, or this team could trade for Karlsson. That's great, but liability defensively. Like, if the Devils were going to trade with Pittsburgh and trade Dougie Hamilton as part of a hockey trade with Rickard Rakell, Erik Karlsson for Dougie Hamilton, and Dawson Mercer, Andre Palat, it's a 50-50 split on the trade, because Rakell's a great player and he's good offensively, and that's what the Devils need. But the Devils lose something with Erik Karlsson coming in, especially defensively. Dougie's taking a step defensively. Both guys turn over the puck. Both guys are offensively gifted. The Devils did try to get Rakell, but the premiums and the costs inside the division are so high that they backed off. And they still need a goal scorer. Yes, they're looking at center depth. Yes, they want to upgrade down the middle. But they still need that goal scorer, which they've needed for a couple of seasons now, ever since they got rid of Tyler Toffoli. So I'm looking to see how these things play out over the next couple of weeks, maybe months into the season. A lot of moving parts. The Devils looking to get their restricted free agent and Luke Hughes signed. Anaheim with Mason McTavish. Minnesota with Marco Rossi. Whatever the outcome is going to be, there's some arbitration hearings along the way. Let's see how the market gets set for some of these players who, we all heard, everybody's only going to go to Florida or Vegas or Tampa or this team. Players went to other places. There's ways to get around no state income tax. But again, Is Seattle really going to be a contender? Anaheim's not a playoff team this year, despite what they say in the media. New Jersey has to take that next step. A lot of pieces to keep an eye on. St. Louis doing the old bluff trick again with their players. No, Doug Armstrong believes his time is done. He's done everything that he needed to do this offseason. It's time to relax. Canadians, I feel like they still have another move up their sleeve before the end of the season and before training camp starts. So just some nuggets here as we go around the NHL offseason here on Full Press Hockey. Again, get that up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Again, this has been the Full Press NHL podcast, the weekly rumors podcast, back for the latest from the NHL offseason. I'm Jim Biringer. Please subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like. Comment below. Check me out. TSN 690, SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Rob Peterson Show, and a lot of other affiliates where I break this all down. Give you the insights and the latest rumors from the NHL. It's one of the top insiders of the game. Guys, take care. Enjoy. We'll be back again real soon.
Full Press Hockey coverage with Jim Biringer.